Good morning, Brett.
Good morning, Tom. How diddly doodly.
Life is really good, considering. Hmm? But we won't get
Considering.
into that.
Yeah,
But today, how about an uplifting, positive show to the best of our
yeah,
ability?
I'm down for that for sure.
So I was thinking,
Hmm.
and this was inspired from a talk with someone yesterday. And we don't necessarily know, I mean, specifically as therapists, but just also as human beings, we don't know the good that we do. We don't know the good that we cause. We don't know how potentially inspirational or empowering we can be by just even doing small, good, decent things for
Hmm.
ourselves and for others.
Hmm. That is so true. How many times have we bumped into somebody years later after we saw them and they just said, "Man, I was in a bad place when I came to see you." And yeah, well, our conversations were really inspiring, and I'm doing really great right now. And I owe you, thank you very much. And it's like,
Right.
whoa, this guy was
Yeah.
a bump on a frog. I couldn't get anything out of him. And he was, I didn't know if I had any impact on our interaction, but lo and behold, look at him. Yeah.
Right. Right. It when that does happen, it feels really good. It's not required, definitely
Right.
not a needed thing, but it is
Sure.
really nice and it
Hmm.
reaffirms, and I know we've talked about this before, putting good out there and not
Hmm.
necessarily expecting any results and especially not expecting to see the
Hmm.
goodness of what we're doing, but it's happening out there, even if we don't know it. And that goes for you, dear listeners, to do good, to be good for yourself, and maybe potentially if you have some left over for others, because you don't know how that's being perceived. You don't know how inspirational or how helpful even those small things, to your point, Brett, can really be in somebody's life. Can be tremendous.
Don't underestimate how powerful a small thing can be. I mean, just a smile at a stranger, or a good morning, or I hope you have a great day. Something like that can make a great impact.
Yeah.
Um, I have I have several, but I have this one shirt, and I think it's the slogan on the front is "Stay another day," kind of
Yeah.
a suicide prevention, and
Mhm.
on the back of the shirt, and I'm a big guy, so it's like a freaking billboard. And it says, "Dear person behind you, the world is a better place with you here. Love the person in front of you," or something like that.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And
It's endearing. Yeah, I like that.
I, my favorite thing is to put that shirt on when I ride my motorcycle because I
Mhm.
get high visibility, right?
Right.
People,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and like I said, my back is like the side of a barn, so you know people can read it, and I can't tell you how many comments that I get. Like people will just pull up in the car next to me, roll their window down, and like, "Thank you for wearing that shirt. That's awesome. I love that shirt." That kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
Or like I'll stop. I wore it to see a friend's band at a bar. I wore that shirt, and I probably had 10 people in the bar come up to me and just say, "Thank you. That's an awesome shirt. I got to get me one of those. I really wish I had that short, just things like that." So
Mhm.
you just never know
Right.
the impact that you make.
You don't know how that just small act of kindness,
Hmm.
how impactful it can be for somebody's life, somebody who's struggling or not having the best day, or maybe just needed to hear something like that, or maybe just needed a kind soul to smile at them and open the door or wave at them, like it also is helpful for bringing us back to the present moment, like, hey, I'm trapped in my head. I'm thinking about this, that, and the other thing. I'm never in the moment. I'm thinking about the future or thinking about the
Right.
past. And, just having somebody smile at you and compliment you, like all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I'm here. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm I'm shopping. I'm at Publix. Like somebody was nice to me. I'm trying to like divert my gaze and focus on my phone and my grocery list. And, now somebody's being kind. It brings you back into the present moment. So I've told stories for years and years, right? Just like,
You're a
and
great
embedded in,
storyteller.
I love it. I love being a storyteller. And embedded in each story is, different themes and morals and food for thought and lessons. And sometimes I'll just rattle off these stories and I'll never know whether or not it landed or hit or struck a nerve or resonated with somebody. And so it's always good to hear from somebody who says, you know what, I've never forgotten about that story, or that story still, like, I think about that on a reoccurring basis and it has helped me in my life. Oh, what an amazing thing.
That's funny that you bring that up because you told a story years ago on this podcast. And we have friends. And this is my friend that Matt. You met Matt.
Mhm.
Um, he came up to me and he said, "Man, Tom's story about blah blah blah. I've used that like 5 times with people that I was talking to." He's
Yeah.
like, "I love that story. I tell it, whenever it's appropriate." And I was like trying to rack my brain about. I'm like, "What story? Some
Yeah.
monk or something?" And I was like, "Man,
Yeah.
that was years ago."
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But it was like you just never know how impactful things like that could be.
Right. Well, recently, last podcast, I did a few stories, stories that I like, I've come across over the years and have utilized, and
Hmm.
just rattled them off, like, hey, this could be maybe potentially helpful. And somebody, dear friend, it really resonated. And she's been using that for the past, ever since, past
Hmm.
couple of weeks. And it's like, or whenever that was. And so, wow, that's just incredible, amazing. Because you think it's just lost in the sea of,
All right.
whatever.
Yeah. And here's another example, and I'm sure this will resonate with lots of people. So, how about when, right, you get a new shirt or something, you're out and you see people, and someone says, "Man, that shirt's really cool. You look great in that shirt,"
Mhm.
right?
Ooh,
And then we're
yeah.
like, okay, first of all, we're like, okay, thanks. And then you get home, you wash the shirt, and it goes right up to the front of the rotation again. It's like,
Yeah, right?
and every time you put that shirt on, you feel like, oh, yeah, I look good in this shirt, right?
Right? Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. Just the power of suggestion.
Yeah, yeah.
And hey, you don't need somebody else to offer those suggestions to you. You can offer them
I'm
to
like,
yourself.
what? What, Tom? What is this hubbubaloo that you're talking about? This hocus pocus?
It is definitely not magic.
It's
No.
not neuro-linguistic. It's
So I would encourage you to offer yourself some positive suggestions that could be
right.
inspirational and helpful. The more you tell yourself something, the more you are prone to believe it. That goes for good things and not so good things.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, what do you want to feed yourself?
Hmm. And I think the opposite, and I know this is off topic, but that's what I do. I spin this thing. So why is the opposite true, right? Because I can look at somebody and say, man, that shirt looks good on them. Man, that's not the right choice for them, right? And I can pick it out in a second. I can't
Yeah.
do that for myself, right? Because I'll
Yeah.
just put a shirt on and I think it looks fine. But I
Uh-huh.
can't make that determination for myself. But man, I'm like I can judge someone else in a hot minute.
Yeah, what is it? What is that? What's that mechanism, right? Because you're not alone. I think myself and a lot of others out there, they can resonate with that.
Uh-huh. I know I have this shirt that I really love, and I put it on, and like everyone I've ever asked, go, yeah, that's not yours. That's not a
Is that the one with flames on
exactly. No. I'm like, what? I think this looks fantastic, and then like everyone I've ever, and so now I like go out of my way like to try to like, hey, what do you think of the shirt? Everyone's like, yeah, that's not yours. That's not yours.
it?
That's, but I still
Oh,
try.
I still try. I open up that closet and there's a dude in there with a hammer and he bashes me in the head, but I keep opening the closet. Why? Why do we do this to ourselves? But that's
Right.
why we seek that validation from others. And
Mhm.
that's why we end up comparing ourselves to others, because
All right.
it becomes very challenging for us to do that for ourselves, and
Yeah,
trying to figure out why that is. Why is
yeah,
it that we can form judgments for others, good and not so good? I mean, but
right.
for ourselves, we're like lost in the sauce.
Mm. You bring up the concept of validation, and quickly when we're young, we seek validations from our parental group, our parents or grandparents or teachers, whatever. We want our those people to validate us. We're a good boy. We're done a good job. We're
Right.
handsome young men, whatever. And
Mhm.
then we hit middle school and high school, and we pull away from our parents, which is what we're supposed to be doing, and we seek validation from our peer group, right? So that's why people are cut ups and yeah, high school and stuff, and just being stupid and goofy and trying to impress everybody. And then as we pull away from that, we want to pull away from the peer group and we seek internal validation, right? We don't really care. It's nice to hear our parents say we're doing well, and it's nice to see our peers say we're doing well. But what's really should be most important is we're validating ourselves. I am a good person. I have good morals. I'm kind. I'm nice. I look good in this flame shirt, those kinds of things. And people they get stuck, and we see that a lot as people are still either as adults vying for validation from a caretaker or a role model,
Spouse.
spouse, exactly, or their peer group. And that's an interesting concept of talking with people and trying to pull them into, at the end of the day, why do you care what anybody else thinks of you? What is more important? What you think of yourself or what others think of you?
Mhm.
So,
Well, think about this. We can form judgments, of course. It's human
yeah.
nature. Not putting any kind of spin on it. Could be good, bad, neutral, whatever. That's how we do. We're organizing things in our minds. But how much time do you spend on thinking about and judging somebody else?
Hmm.
Small amounts. But why is it that we feel like people are judging us and spending an absorbent amount of time thinking about us and our flame shirt and how terrible it looks? They're not. They move on to something else.
Right. I know someone could give you like a cross look, or, like you cut them off in traffic and they give you the finger or whatever. And we carry that crap all day long. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And why does that person hate me so much? And why, blah, 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 blah. And why does that person, judging me and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? They were over it in like 7 seconds. I mean,
They're
they
not
haven't
carrying
given,
that shit around.
they are over it, past it, through it, on through 20 other things by at this time. So
Yeah.
why are you so self-absorbed that you think everybody's thinking about you?
You probably think this song is about you.
Kate Carly.
Right. So we've got to shake that. If they're not spending more than 7 seconds on it, we shouldn't
Right,
be spending more than 7 seconds on it.
right. Mm, that's fair too.
So back to you don't need anybody else to validate you. You
Mm,
can do that for yourself. In fact,
right.
I implore you, I encourage you, find ways to validate yourself, to make yourself feel good. If that means you've got to look at yourself in the mirror and Stuart Smalley style, I think that's what the guy's name. I'm good enough, I'm
Yeah.
smart enough, and gosh darn
Gosh
it,
darn
people
it.
like it. People like me. Then do that. Whatever.
Absolutely.
If you got to go
And
put on that shirt that made you feel good, like, and it's got flames on it, and doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, but you like it. It hugs in the right places, and you feel
mm,
confident, and you're stepping out there, and you're doing good things. And by
mm.
all means, you wear that damn shirt.
What's that old meme phrase? Have as much confidence as a 4-year-old in a Batman costume.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love that. I've
Yeah.
heard that before.
Oh yeah. Have as much confidence as a 4-year-old in a Batman costume. Because man, that kid's running around going, "Woo! Look at me! I'm killing it!"
You ever see that? I'm sure that's very, very old, but of course, so are we, and we're behind the times. But that kid in the Batman costume and like the mom's on the computer, and she asks, honey, what you want for dinner? And he pops up in the Batman costume and like chokes her out. and he says in his deep Batman like esque voice, "Justice." It's hilarious every time I see that. It just tickles me.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. So validate yourself, right? It doesn't matter really what other people think. What was more important is what you think about yourself. But on the flip side, validate others, right?
Mhm.
So you never underestimate the power that a small validation, hey, you look great in that shirt. Or, or dang, I really like your your haircut.
Right.
Got your hairs cut. Looks great.
Yeah.
Never underestimate how powerful and impactful that can be. And not only to your friends and family, but I mean, just a stranger,
Yeah.
you know? I'm not encouraging you to go out and have conversations with everybody you meet, but, it's okay to smile at people.
Yeah.
It's okay to, hold the door for people, say, excuse me,
Absolutely. Well, one of the
have a great
first
day.
assignments that I give people who are struggling with some social anxiety is to go out like and compliment three people each day
Hmm.
until I see you again. And you
Yeah.
don't have to go out of your way to do it. Just like wherever you're going, where, like you're going out to Walgreens or Publix or, just or
Right.
at work or whatever, find a way to compliment three people, three different times.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and
And their
surround.
response to you is not important, right?
Yeah.
You're not doing this to get a response. Like, you talk to people and they're like, man, I held the door open for somebody and they didn't say thank you. How freaking rude. And now
Right.
they're spinning off and like, everyone's so dang rude. I'm like, did you do it for the recognition or did you do it because it's a kind thing to do?
Right. Yeah.
So again, you're seeking external validation as opposed to internal validation. So let's take a peek at that.
Yeah. So go out and do nice things just for the sake of doing nice things to
Right.
promote that type of energy. Because
Right.
even if they don't compliment you or respond in kind,
Mhm.
they actually might do something. It might be something they pay for without even realizing it. You held the door for them and they stormed in because they were on the phone and they've got to go get their breakfast sandwich or whatever, and like that that little suggestion, somebody is exuding some kindness, or displaying some kindness to me. Maybe that rubs off later on and they hold the door for somebody later on that evening, like
Right.
you're paying it
Yeah,
forward.
no, for sure.
And
Yeah.
that whole butterfly effect.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Small changes lead to bigger changes,
Right.
you know?
Think about how that might work in opposition to kindness.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. And the compounding, that compounding effect. So, you wake up and you're, meandering through your day, whatever, and then someone at the gas station, hey, nice haircut, or holds the door for you, and then all of a sudden your mood changes and you lift a little bit, and then you're more in a better mood, so then you give somebody a compliment, and so on and so on, and you get to work and you're not crusty, and you replace the paper in the copier, and don't leave it empty for the next person, and then they're like woo and then
Right.
it just goes from there.
Yeah, it just goes from there. You're not always going to know the good things that you're doing or how that's going to pay off for others, but do them anyway.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and we see the opposite be true as well. So don't, put good things out there. Do things that validate yourself, and hopefully it'll have that ripple effect out there. Because
Right.
the opposite is true too. If you're a crusty burger and, spreading um, negativity,
Mhm.
that can be as contagious as well. So what do you choose?
Well, I've said this a lot, especially on here on the podcast, but I'll say it again. If you go out there and one person is an asshole to you, well, that person might just be an asshole. However,
No.
if you go
However.
out there and everyone is an asshole to you, hmm,
Hmm.
you might have to take a look at yourself. You
Hmm.
just might be the asshole.
Their Tom fractions weren't always my thing, but I can recognize a common denominator when I see it.
Yeah. So take a look at that because there's a lot of people that come into the office and they're talking about this, that, and how people are, doing this and that against them. And it just seems like the universe has conspired against them. And then,
Hmm.
well, let's take a look at some things.
Right.
Maybe there's some small changes that you can make
Hmm.
now, just because you may be doing or engaging in asshole type behaviors. It doesn't mean that you deep down are that.
Hmm.
You can change. I mean, you had said something a while ago that really resonated with me and tremendously so. And I don't think I've ever even expressed how much it has helped. And it was along the lines, and I don't want to butcher it, but when we're talking about people in mental health, that they're suffering from this thing, that they are not that thing.
Right.
And I loved that. That has been super
Hmm.
helpful for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Your symptoms don't define who you are.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and language is powerful. So, you're not, you're not a schizophrenic. You're not a diabetic. You're not a cancer. Right. You're somebody that's living with something. I'm
An
living with,
alcoholic.
right, an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I'm living with a, alcohol use disorder. I'm living with diabetes. I have symptoms of depression. I have
Right.
symptoms of schizophrenia.
Right.
And it's amazing how powerful that is, where I am not defined by what I'm living with at the moment.
In fact, there isn't a label out there that defines who you are because you define who you are.
Exactly. And it changes.
Mhm.
But, I've always said if people can't change, I've wasted 25 years of my life.
Exactly. Right.
People can change, they change all the time.
They do have the capacity to change.
Hmm.
Even if they don't want to change, sometimes, oftentimes, we're forced to. We have to
Hmm.
adapt, and you are
Right.
adaptable. If what you're doing is no longer working, then that necessitates a change. And you can
Right.
facilitate that.
Right. I think age, forces us to change a little bit. I remember,
Hmm.
back in the day, man, I wake up, I'm jumping out of bed, I'm running around, and now I'm like, okay, let's take this a little, I'm jumping up, throwing some shorts on, and run. And right now, I'm like, okay, let's take this a little bit slower. I think I'm gonna sit down and put my shorts on instead of trying to, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I've had to change and how I do things just
Yeah.
based on age. So sometimes where you have to.
You don't have to put your socks on standing up. You can sit down and have some sock time.
Exactly. Man, when I was younger, I mean, we would stay out till 3, 4 in the morning, get up at 6 and go to work and be just fine. I can't do that anymore.
No.
Not,
How did we do that? How did you stop drinking at 3 and then go out for a run at
exactly.
5:30? Oh, can you imagine?
Oh no. No, 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 no.
So yes, people have the capacity to change. You have the capacity to change, and I'd like for you to start telling yourself some good stuff, some positive affirmations, all that positive psychology hullabaloo. Engage in some of that. See what happens over the next couple of weeks. Find
Remember we
ways to
would,
validate yourself. Doesn't matter if people are agreeing with you or celebrating that or even holding space for you. You just do that.
mhm, have the confidence of a 4-year-old in a Batman costume.
Yeah, man. Unapologetically so.
Absolutely. Wear that flame shirt. I'm gonna wear it tonight, dang it. I'm gonna sleep in
That way you wake up and you go brush your teeth and you're like, oh.
it. All right. I'm gonna wear it survivor style until it falls off me.
What do you want for breakfast? Justice.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
man.
so
So
funny.
you don't realize how potentially helpful you are being by just being kind out there.
Mm.
So thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for that reminder. Let that be a reminder for you guys out there. And thank you for being here and thank you for listening.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Let us know how big of idiots you think we are. We're at questions@therapyunzip.com. We take all comments, positive and negative.
And we're here to help.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
that. I think, Tom. I think we've poked the bear. I think we've put a challenge out there.
Mhm. Well, this is the time, if ever there were a time for community, for people helping people, working together,
Mhm.
helping each other out. The struggle out
Absolutely.
there is real. We need each other.
Yeah. If you are exceedingly bothered by the world events, you know what? Turn the TV off. Turn your social media off for a while. So you
Go
make
do
some
that hobby
choices.
that makes you feel good.
Exactly. Exactly. And TikTok is not a hobby, by the way, so don't say that. All right, Tom, great to
Yes.
see you.
Same. Great to see you. And thank you guys for listening out there. And we'll see you next week.
All right.